he said, trying to keep his voice even. "That boy who—" He swayed and had to grip the rigging to keep from falling over. "The one who—" "Yes, sir?" Miles said again. Mr. Jasper squinted hard at Miles, then made a noise at the back of his throat like one of the dock cats hacking up something disagreeable. I don't care who you are. Swab that deck and then check the holds are clear before you take your leave. And be back by dawn or we sail without you. Any boy could take your place, mark my words." No boy could take his place. Miles almost laughed, but coughed instead. "Yes, sir." Mr. Jasper stumbled away, tripping and falling onto the dock before crawling off to one of the pubs. Miles continued to work, the exercise keeping him warm in the chill darkness, and keeping his thoughts from more unpleasant things. That is, until he heard the thump. He stopped swabbing, tipping his head toward the noise, and there it was again. Thump, thump. From somewhere below. As far as Miles knew, Mr. Jasper had been the last of the sailors to leave the ship. So who or what could be making that noise? He leaned his mop against the rigging, lit a lantern, and proceeded to check the whole of the quarterdeck, the gun deck, the middle deck, and the lower deck. All were clear. By the time he reached the hold in the deepest part of the ship, his lantern barely cut through the blackness. The aurora rolled gently with the movement of the sea. But down here the undulation felt more ominous, the boards creaking all around him. Miles fumbled in his back pocket for his knife, small but deadly sharp, a knife that had kept many a bored and drunken sailor from beating Miles for sport. With the knife in one hand and the lantern in the other, he crept through the freezing dark and soon came to the cabin of the carpenter. The carpenter lived down here because of the easy access to the hold, but also because he was a mean old man who hated everyone except for the rats, some of which he gave jolly names like Daniel Defoe and Jonathan Swift. Maybe the carpenter hadn't left for the evening? Miles pressed his ear against the cabin door. He heard faint scratching, then mumbling and whispering. As far as he knew, Daniel Defoe and Jonathan Swift could not speak, no matter how much the carpenter wished they would. Miles took a deep breath, and then threw open the door, thrusting the knife out in front of him. Inside the tiny cabin, a dark-haired woman sat down abruptly on the bed, her hand trembling over her mouth. She was white, and not old, but not nearly as young as Miles. In the yellow light of Miles' lantern, her eyes were as black as the ocean at night, wide and dark and terrified, but also defiant, as if she were scared of the knife but also willing to meet it, whatever that meant for her. "Who are you?" Miles said. The woman licked her lips, but said nothing. It was then that Miles noticed that there was someone in the bed behind her, someone trying to stifle a cough. "Who was that? Were you passengers on the last voyage?" Miles repeated. "You need to get off the ship, or what?" the woman snapped. "Or you'll stab me." Miles had only stabbed one person in his whole life, and he'd been sure that person had deserved it. But he didn't know if this woman did. He made a decision and tucked the knife away. "No. But if the carpenter or the bosun or anyone else finds you, they'll throw you into the sea, or worse." The woman swallowed hard, gestured to the man in the bed. "My brother is sick. We only wanted to rest a bit." Indeed, the man did look sick, sweaty and pale, and the resemblance between the man and the woman was unmistakable. Maybe she was telling the truth. She said, "I thought everyone would be away for at least a few days." "A few days?" Miles said. "We get a few hours. And the captain will be back before then to make sure no one damages his ship." "Oh," the woman said. "Right." She wrung her hands, frowning. In addition to the man in the bed behind her, there was a trunk at her feet. Miles had no idea how she'd been able to sneak the man and the trunk onto the ship without anyone else seeing her. But he had to get her off the ship before they did. "Is someone meeting you on the docks?" Miles said. She shook her head. "Do you have family in the city?" She shook her head again.